Hi, welcome to my show, Dripping with Meaning, an enchanting look at the wonders of spiritual growth. Each month starts a new set of energies to discover, following the moon phases that awaken our spirit. Each week, we enter into discussion about the power of living in our truth and share strategies of personal growth. Valuing our inner thoughts and the agreements we make to share our truth motivates our lifestyle to succeed more and to be more joyous. Tuning into the dimension of life seen and unseen, deepening our perception and our guides and the signs along the journey inward, outward, and safely home. Before I get started today, I want to thank Debbie Garcia, founder and CEO of Spirituality Gone Wild, and her team of spiritual guides, powerhouses, and creators. You can catch numerous shows daily on her network and become more in tune with your destiny, your power, and your story. Today, my lovely co host, Missy, is bringing us a wonderful lady from Toronto, Canada. Missy, are you ready to come forward tonight, you lovely, righteous, mystical being?
Ready.
You are ready.
I'm always ready.
How are you tonight, Missy?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me and for having me invite Liz. I'm so excited.
I know. So Liz is with us tonight.
Yeah.
And do you want to just give our audience a little bit of information on her while I go take care of something real quick?
Sure, absolutely. Super excited to introduce you to Toronto's best psychic and highly gifted, highly intuitive tarot master Liz, who is also a Patanjali meditation teacher. She offers Reiki, she teaches masters, she turns other clients into masters in various aspects. She does spiritual counseling. She also does oracle reading, and she also does etheric surgery amongst a whole slew of other mystical gifts.
Yeah, and the etherical surgery as well. Wow. So incredible. I know that in a lot of my mystery school study that was a part of the practice. And it was always really exciting to think that even for us who are incredibly in tune and empathic, that we could have these surgeries to sort of relieve maybe what we weren't perceiving or getting catched up on a layer or dimension of our personal growth. And for me, because I knew a little bit about that and her now, we have actually found out that we are from a similar school, same school, just 10 years apart from one another. So it's such a wonderful feeling.
That's so cool. There's no coincidences.
Yes. And I'm so grateful for you, Missy, because it's like, look at the smile that it's creating. Like, it's like, wow.
Yay, you too. So grateful. So excited to be here. It's fun.
Yeah, she is and rated number one psychic medium Toronto, and here to speak about the power of channeling and receiving proper guidance. Tarot card reader, energy practitioner, meditation teacher, and she is here for our Halloween celebration. Let's just bring her in for some empowerment, some guidance, and
Awesome.
I think she's in here somewhere. Let's grab her. Let's get her. Yay, Liz.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Nicole and Melissa. I'm so honored to be on the show.
I know. I'm so excited about this show. It's like I wish I could just get my face in the picture properly. At least you can see my painting really good on that one.
Yeah, yes. She's a very talented artist for those who don't know. And I just met her.
Yeah, maybe this way more. Oh, this is the right way.
Your crown is off the chart. It's just amazing.
Thanks.
That is awesome.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I'm wondering if it's because of the placement. There we go. We'll just turn me like this. I don't know. Maybe I'm not meant to be the show. No, I'm just joking. So we ended up actually in disclosure like for hours the other evening. And it was kind of earth shaking for me. It was rather liberating because so many parts of me that I left in that journey for me in mystery schooling in 2000 in that kind of 10-year bracket And then knowing that there was this like continuity in our stories where there was a pairing almost of information
Yes.
is it's really great because I never really wanted to throw out that experience. I've always kind of kept it and harnessed it.
Yes. And I think it's like all of our spiritual journeys, at certain points, we have certain mentors. And then we actually, eventually, we become really great mentors. And the idea of any mentor, any coach or teacher that we've had along the way, now that I'm a mentor to so many people, it really is the understanding that, when we step into that mastery and into that mentorship, that we want our students to surpass us. So a true master is really measured. That's saying, a popular saying, that a true master is measured by how many masters they create. And what I have found on the spiritual journey is that there unfortunately are a lot of people that monetize spirituality, and they don't actually want their students to surpass them. And now that I've stepped into that role, especially in the last few years, mentoring people, it's like you want your students to exceed and go even beyond you. That's really what I think all teachers should want for all of their students, no matter what the discipline.
I like, just need to breathe that in. Monotonizing spirituality, and
Yeah.
it was this topic.
Yeah, monetizing spirituality. So we're in the year of the Hierophant 2021 in tarot, and it's traditional knowledge, it's esoteric knowledge. That's what 2021 is all about. But if spiritual offerings are too expensive, I think that we need to really look at who are we learning from, and are they spiritually and ethically aligned? Because if it's too much, I think we should question where their kind of their harmony is within their heart in terms of giving and receiving. Because I believe that some courses are too expensive, and then we need to look at the channel of who are we learning from.
Beautiful. Yeah,
I'm sure you can relate, Nicole, because you and I have some similar trainings.
Yeah, and that whole idea for me of like who gets to evolve or not, right? That seems to be more draconian in nature.
Yes.
I think it has a ringing in of not the new age, not the new world. I don't think the crystallized children would want it. I mean,
No.
I'm first generation indigo on Earth, and I just feel crystallized anyways, I think. And I think our hearts really want people to be able to get the knowledge necessary, to have the freedom to experience themselves, grow spiritually, to understand they're not just the physical body, and to nurture that and to nourish their souls in that sense, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And that nourishment coming from a place of light.
And not creating dependency.
Yeah, that's a huge point, Melissa, is like, I've seen many mentors that, by the way, I grew a lot under them. So it's not to discount them or dismiss them. We have to honor our mentors. Everyone is human. We all have to do our shadow work. We're in the darkest time of the year. This is the time for our shadow work. We should be doing it all the time, but especially leading up to, Samhain, and up to December 21st, the winter solstice. This is the time of the year that all of us as individuals need to go deeper. But I have seen it in a lot of teachers that they just want to create courses that the students do the same courses every year. And I just think that that's problematic, because that's a dependency.
That shows that from my channel perception is that it's not coming to them authentically.
Yeah.
There's a limitation. So I see the dark as in rotating opposite to the divine. And so if the divine is always in a continuum, an infinite continuum, it means that infinite amount of energy and light is available. And then that's going to come through us at any time. And it may, as awkward as it be, because I was speaking with a friend today about how awkward that can be. It is a part of the process of deshelling, becoming another dimension, right?
Yes.
And our bodies our etheric bodies are challenged. Our physical bodies are changing composition. different aspects are rolling in and out at all times. The only thing stopping it is when walking towards that, egoic kind of, I only am, I am the top here, or etc.
Exactly.
vibe. Now, with that being said, a guru, as my sister would call me to her, we are guru to one another,
Mhm.
is that my light shines for you and your light shines for me, right? So there's no real limit, because then the
Mhm.
growth pans over the sun and the moon and the passing of the stars. And as I'm getting, actually, thank you, Missy, I'm getting so much more into my sun moon connections and thoughts like that, right? And our friend tonight that's going to be visiting as well is very harmonious. And then I met another lady just today, and her artwork and her whole thing is going on with the astrological signs. So
Amazing.
Oh, incredible.
yeah, so I think that the sharing and the changing and the evolving and the painful aspects are okay, because we are looking to bring forward light and echo that in our beings. And therefore that would be us, right? And letting down the guard of ego and
Mhm.
just being okay within our own flesh and sharing, right?
Yeah, and I think there's this notion of, for all of us have divine masculine and feminine energy. We're all kings and queens in our own right. And so we talked about the notion this week, Nicole, in our previous call, of the throne room, and that we only have a finite amount of time, money, energy, resources. Who are we going to spend it with? We have to be discerning, and we have to protect ourselves. And so for me, there's two people. There's Melissa, who's here, one of my dearest friends, and my husband. And yes, there's all kinds of connections and being in community and mentorship and all kinds of things that we do. And of course we have other friendships, but the throne room is reserved for the people that know the inner chambers of your heart, where they can hold sacred space to you and really cultivate radical acceptance,
Mhm.
non-judgment, unconditional love. Those are like the three big points. However, in holding the space in the throne room, it's very important that we help each other do shadow work, because sometimes she can help to shine light on my darkness and vice versa.
Yeah.
And same with my husband. But within the throne room, I know that if we're helping each other with some blocks, obstacles, or shadow work, there's no judgment. And she can help me see something or recontextualize something in a way that maybe I was not able to see initially. And that's really what the throne room is for. If you have more than 5 people in the throne room, there's a problem.
That's a party.
That's a party, and a confidant is really the word that I think is the word, is confidant, which is usually a female friendship. Confidant is a female partnership of two, like she's one of my soulmates, right? So to have a confidant, you're not going to have 5 confidants. That's because then how could you actually logistically, rationally, realistically hold space for 5 women? It's actually not possible.
So is this ritual designed for females? Or could it be a male, female? It doesn't matter what gender is in there with you.
Oh yeah, gender doesn't matter. But I was just saying the word confidant is usually applied to female relationships, but honestly, gender doesn't matter. It's extended to you and, I would say between 1 and 3 people maximum. For me, it's 2. That can really hold space for you, that will be there for you, and that you are actually in touch with, usually in some capacity on a daily basis.
Wow.
So we can't have many people in the throne room because there's not actually enough hours in the day for you to fully and completely be there for that number of people. So I think some people misconstrue what the throne room is, right? There's tons of people in the rose garden. You visit them, you have lunch, you have dinner, you do all these things, and you are there for them. But the throne room is really this notion of very, very few people should have that much access to you. And it needs to be, like, again, mutual respect, unconditional love, radical acceptance, non-judgment, give and take, ebb and flow. And you honestly can't do that for too many people because it's not realistically possible given the hours in the day, right? So we have to be discerning about who we let in. And I think a lot of people, and I used to be like this, I had so many people in my throne room, right? And that's when you're on the phone all the time and you're trying to be there for too many people. It's not realistic in our day-to-day lives.
Well, that's beautiful. I think as well, sometimes you feel your throne room is filled with people who need a good psychotherapist, or who need to read their own books, or who need to actually come forward on their own levels. Because if this
Yes.
throne room, as you're saying, is, the divinity which you hold within and share in your healing practice, or share within your community, or share with one another, then
Mhm.
you lose the sacredness and the value of your words, your thoughts, and maybe slip into patterns that might not serve you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I really feel that your word is a blessing, and I really enjoy.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, honey.
So tell me more about your rose garden then. So who would you say are your favorites? Like, is it from your past? Do you make room for people in the future in the rose garden? Is it like a come and go thing, or?
Yeah. So the throne room itself for me, again, is I like to think of it as that. So the throne room is the most trusted person or people. So for me, it's my significant other, my husband, and Melissa, being my confidant, being my closest girlfriend. So again, you love all kinds of people, and they may be in the rose garden. You may go and have lunch with them or have a tea with them, and you love them, and you can still give them non-judgment, radical acceptance, unconditional love, mutual support. You can still give them. You're still going to give those people the same thing, but we're talking about energy in terms of who has access to you, right? So who has access to you on a daily basis, protecting your energy, the throne room, and who really knows what's going on with you daily. We can only give access to a few people. The rose garden, it could be anyone really, in terms
Family.
of who you decide. Like I'm very close to my parents. Specifically, my mother and I are very close. My father is too. Think of the castle as, there are different rooms. So there's family members, there are, colleagues, some are people in the community. Melissa and I host regular new moon and full moon sound bath meditation tarot events.
I am so excited for being able to come down.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to attend. You're going to love it. But for, the community that we create, we do them in Toronto. We host them in Toronto. And, as an example, there's so many people we're connected to in the community. Of course, they have a place and they are in the rose garden too. And we visit them and we love them and we support one another and we guide them. But the whole point is, it's really the notion of the throne room that's important, of the day-to-day, of protecting your energy and realizing that you can only give so much of yourself fully and completely to people. And so, for example, the throne room, most likely, Nicole, it's not going to change. It's like your foundation. Think of the throne room as like there's only between 1 and 3 people. And then in the other parts of your garden or your castle, you have all kinds of people that you love, but you might see them spaced out. So you get quality time with them, but maybe like some of my old friends, as an example, I might see them once every month or a month and a half. But when I'm in the rose garden, like I am present, I am there. I love them. They get all of me, but I will give them quality time just spaced out. So it is about structure and discipline, knowing your energy and knowing that, we can't see everyone that often, because we also need to spend a lot of time in solitude, right?
Hermits.
In order to be close to your spirit. So you enjoy solitude for your spirit. I enjoy walking.
I need it.
For me, walking is the biggest thing. I think I'm very much so in the air and have to walk around a lot with no socks on in order to feel grounded at all.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a little poll on the cards here to start us off a bit with the cards because I just felt
Amazing.
like I wanted to go right into it. I don't know if you feel it's okay, but
I'm totally ready. Yes.
okay. So I'm pulling the Spirit Animal Oracle from Colette Ryden, Baron Ride, sorry. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
I
did
love her.
I did 3. And what I was coming up with here is that there's just not maybe within me enough embracing the in-betweenness. And yeah, I really like punctuality and things, right done right away, and hate falling behind on things. And
Yeah.
that really ruffles my feathers. But the frog spirit for me is saying clear out the clutter, which I started last moon. So I'm really excited because like I'm actually starting to enjoy getting rid of my clutter.
Yay!
That's so
Awesome!
good.
But I have so many mystical books, and I kind of try to I tried to put a goal on what am I going to give away? And I just can't give these books away. I would like to give them to the right owner if they really were resonating. I'm not going down to the used bookstore with them, if you know what I mean. This is how I get about my paintings too, by the way. But anyways, and then to watch out in the parrot spirit, which parrot is big for me, is my answer or future looks like watch your words. So what I say, what I feel, and what I think, but I'm going to reverberate that into myself as I feel what I'm saying to myself. Listen to what I'm trying to say to myself. And don't externalize unnecessarily. Listen before I speak. Listen to that hurt from that previous relationship. Listen to that disappointment due to COVID. I don't know how many of us are experiencing it in the world today. I really empathize with everyone on COVID and what innocuous fake news and media we're having to digest. It doesn't feel good. And Liz, I think in our preliminary, we discussed how much centering is taking for you to just remain centered.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of my clients, technology in general, we have sometimes it's about leaving the phone in the other room or on another floor,
Leave
and
it
just
off.
actually, just leave it off. But the point, it's best if it's actually not even, you can't even see it. You actually leave it, you leave it on in an entirely, just put it in the bag. Because then if it's not in your eye line, then you're like, all right, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do some divination. Maybe I'll do some prayers. I'll do some affirmations, whatever it is that is in your practice,
Yeah, to
or
touch
reading
into
your
spirit.
book.
Even
Because
just reading a
sometimes
book,
when it's just
reading,
around, we see it and it's,
doing some
it's a
Tai Chi
drainer.
movement. I really like this one gentleman right now I'm into for his Shaolin monkhood. He had a Shaolin monkhood since he's on YouTube and TEDx. And in his monkhood, he started at 10 years
Oh,
old.
wow.
And he's walking into his later years now. And his way of handling aging is by moving slower and teaching people the Shaolin slower.
Wow.
Love
But his
it.
video
I love
production,
that.
yeah. So his video production, just watching him move like that, like the body movement like that, right? But his production is so naturally relaxing as well. So trying to relax myself while I'm trying to get up and go and do business is tough, but I've learned that I can definitely work more wonders by coordinating what I do want, but letting down on media as well. I read an important article today on how important for even the most biggest tech geniuses now are talking about how much importance we need to place upon the times we are not in our phones and researching and stuff. So, or developing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's very true. Because it can be, you have to understand that when we're falling into technology, and not to demonize technology, but it's a tool and it's fantastic and we need it and it's excellent. But when we are engaging with it too much, it can leave us feeling depleted, drained, and exhausted. Because there is an actual entity that is in technology that is engaging with us when we use it, whether we're conscious of it or not. So just to be
And
cognizant. Be cognizant.
So there are entities involved as well.
It's very much an actual energy.
Okay.
It is an entity that engages with us. And that's why if we've been on our phone too much, or if we've, just been doing too much tech in a day and we don't have that balance, then we will feel that drain because it's actually an energy.
What's his name or her name?
Ariman. Ariman is one of the names. It comes in many names, but the name of the entity is Ariman. And so again, it's not to be scared of it. It's just to notice that if you have, your rituals in place, you've done your daily meditation, you're eating healthy food, you're doing your walks, your exercise, your yoga, your mantras, your chanting, like whatever it is that works for you. If you have a firm practice and you're just making sure that it's balanced and you take breaks, you're fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. But you will notice, all of us have, when we're down the rabbit hole, too much technology, and you're like, whoa, you just feel kind of not even in your body. You don't feel grounded.
I know. And I think maybe that's so great, because the biggest thing I'm feeling is like the question I ask myself every morning: why do I feel so drained? Even though I've slept well, or can't be nutrition, but I really don't want to be a perfectionist because I like to be on the go. But I think that's just a lack in desire to really want to ground.
I think that's also, I think that those points are really true, but also that at nighttime we do astral travel. And so there are some mornings when, and I'll speak to Melissa, when I know that I was busy on the astral, either teaching, I'm actually teaching tarot on the astral, or people are visiting me and I'm giving a lecture on the astral, or sometimes it's just a full out war.
Yeah.
And so I wake up and I'm like, oh, I've been warring all night, so we've been fighting for the light. So to be honest with you, when we astral travel, sometimes we may not remember the details. I will always talk to Melissa about what was going on. And oftentimes she's in my dreams or I'm in hers, because we're co-creating certain things. And we are actually, some of our soul missions overlap. So yeah, sometimes when we're drained and we don't remember, it's because you were very active on the astral realm, or you were visiting with your guides and you were just happy. There's so many things that we're doing at nighttime.
It's true. That's why you're not fully rested, but meditation can give you and your body the rest that it needs. And it feels like you've had a full night of sleep because
absolutely
you meditated to actually rest the mind, body, and soul.
Very good point.
And then in the same regard too, I think the challenge in shamanism is realizing it's okay that we go through crazy, ugly, tired, and I kind of favor going into it all. And my mom always says it's going to kill you, but I think I would prefer to be able to handle whatever the situation is. It's a little bit of a big goal, but I also have a sort of wide breadth of taste and desire for what is around me, and the goddess sense in my I don't know, I've never really thought to say angelic or not. I don't know. My wings are what they are. I think light or dark is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I got a sense of it all from that, and that my light right now, as I'm working on it, is eminent of me actually taking time to focus on my light, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we want to read more cards, or you have another guest coming in?
She's going to be coming in. Did you want to do your reading first?
Oh, it's up to you. No, we can have her come in first, because I'm going to do 3 cards. Maybe Melissa wants to do her card. It's up to you guys.
Oh yeah, I've got 1 card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You got one for us, Missy?
I have 1 from Universal Folk Oracle by Anita Inverarity.
I love her.
Oh, and who is she?
Oops. She's great. Oh, she's created these cards. They're just beautiful. They look
They're
like
beautiful cards.
they're just. This is when we pulled. Look,
Oh, I love it.
Crystalline.
Yeah.
And there's your cat. Your cat's.
got Leo, my little orange cat, on there. He's over here having a nap.
Nice.
And also, you are both lovely women wearing crowns today. And
Oh.
There's your crown.
Female
Both of
with the
you.
crown.
with
Yeah.
a little flower. Nicole, even both of you have the same gold flowers on the crowns that you're both wearing today.
That's so funny.
On this card. And I've got the cat here. So together, the three of us have made this card come to life.
For sure.
And it says, and it says energy, wonder, alive, beauty. These are the 4 words under crystalline. So we've made the card come
Nice.
alive.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's creepy awesome.
That is very cool.
I
love
think like sharing with women and sharing with men as well, if they were in the safety net of understanding themselves with spiritual power, right? Because not all people obviously are going to adapt to spiritual empowerment in the same way that maybe somebody who's a lifer like myself, who I think am so open-minded that I talk to almost anybody about their spirituality or their religion, right? So I think like the empowerment in a group, in the sense that Missy was expressing it too, seeing it within one another, it's yeah, it would be really cool if we all got into that dreamscape together and could pull each other in and pull each other out to do the work.
We can do that. We
When I
can.
was first initiated, they said that I work on the angelic while I'm sleeping.
Yeah. And also doing, some meditations working with specific archangels can really, really help, because they will work with us as well going into the evening, going into the sleep time. And you can kind of call them in your evening meditation, which is great.
So if spirituality is a daily practice, what would be the 5 things you say are essential?
I would say the 5 things that are essential are, first of all, that you're meditating every morning, even if you can only, I know everyone is busy, but even if you can just do 10 minutes, that will change your life. Even better if you could do 2 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night. And even if that's all you can do, that will change your life. If you just did that one change, you would be more present. You would be more empowered. Your anxiety would decrease rapidly. And you also, when challenges hit, you wouldn't be as reactive. You would be more responsive. So meditation is huge. Starting and ending my day. Getting some really good crystals even boosts that. I recently found, and Melissa may have hers close by, but I have these selenite cylinders. There they are. Look at those. Melissa has them too. There's 2 of them.
Wow, you have cylinders of them. I have
Those are really powerful. I love those.
I have this piece.
Oh, baby.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Oh, I love that.
It is. It's a very big one.
Those part of a spiritual practice, and I have like a lot of selenite and towers, but those cylinders, we've got to get a set for Nicole.
Yes,
They've upped my meditation, because it's almost like you feel like you're the phone and you're being charged by them. Like it's a totally, and I love crystals. I have an extensive collection. Be that Goldilocks that tries different crystals and see what works and what resonates. But the selenite for me is just like a huge cleanser. So if you want to get the most out of your meditation and making that part of your daily practice, you are working with like a really high vibrational crystal. You're meditating twice a day. And if you can work with angels as well, or do an angel meditation, now you've done 3 things. You're doing breath work, you're meditating, you're quieting the mind, and you're also going to have that amplified by the crystal that you decide to work with. And you're kind of hitting a few things by just doing one practice. So I think that a daily meditation practice is really non-negotiable. It sets you on your path for the day, and it will spill over into all aspects of your life throughout the day as well. So I would say,
so what I'm getting called to say about this is
amazing. Look at that.
I watch Francesco, a gentleman online who he does, and he now, like, he's so done with people, right? And he's really into the future self. He brings it right out, and he will do in his reading, he'll do a complete banishment right through the screen for the read.
Yep.
He also is very prolific, though. Like, he does see that there's a lot going on at this time, and he's sort of wasting away in the clientele that he's had that were biased or very biased for him because they're not moving forward.
Right.
They're really in that stuck mode, right? They're in still the narcissistic, egoistic. They're not doing their own work, right? And yeah, so anyway, so you can see him a lot of times, and he'll do it because, like, I'm a very much so I love my chant. So I'm a Buddhist and I love my chant.
Yes.
And his is so coming from the place of where his now self, this realized past life, future life, everything where his divination truly is, and he's given her, and it's always with a full crystal in hand. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So I would say meditation, and like if you can add in those little things, and then you definitely want to have protection, right? You calling in protection. So, you know, if you're doing a Kabbalistic cross, if you are creating a bubble of white light around you, calling in
visualizing white light. Yeah.
Yeah, creating, and a big way to do the bubble of white light is to actually do Kundalini breathing and do the breath, because what that does is it actually, you're pushing the energy up from the Kundalini center, you're bringing it up, and then you actually create the bubble and you will feel it, and you very slowly create the egg around you. And so it is physical. You will physically feel the energy. It's not just a visualization. You will physically, after doing the breath of fire, you will feel it. I've done it with people that are not even like meditators or not really on the path in a strong way. And they're like, oh my God, I can feel it. It's a magnetic pull, and you will feel that you are creating a bubble.
And using the yoga as well, right?
Using the breath of fire. Yeah. Using the breath of fire. And now you actually have a bubble.
I have a fire. I have to take this off. Man. That's so much better now.
Yeah.
It's boiling under here.
So the breath of fire is huge because
Liz, I do without, sorry to interrupting.
No, it's okay.
But Lee is here, beautiful and full and strong, coming on at her light. And she wants to share a little bit too with us today. So we're going to bring her in right now.
Awesome.
Let's see how that looks. Oh, and then there's 4.
Hello. I'm so grateful to Madam Choice for inviting me here tonight. Nice to meet both of you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I revealed to Lee, because there's Lee, Liz, and Missy. I revealed to Lee that I had a secret identity I wanted to have out. So we were pretty deep into our meeting one another too, through a posting and some sharing and honesty and truth and from the heart. And it was a beautiful moment.
So incredible.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a great conversation. And she literally 3 hours, and we were like, oh shit, we've been on a really long time. And we were heading towards like an hour and a half. And we're like, oh damn, right, I actually have things to do today. So it's like one of those conversations every single time, like where you just, one thing leads to the other. So I appreciate it so much. I'm grateful that we connected, and universe works in mysterious ways, y'all. So
yeah.
So before you came on, we were sharing in why we use different divination practices, bringing out our inner witching, healers, and love and lighters, and even the dark parts, right? So I'm really into that. Oh, look at that citrine just passed by the screen like that. Wow.
Nice.
it's pretty.
I call it the boat. It's like a boat.
Oh, it's a beautiful boat.
Kind of reminds me of a dragon.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm just tilting it so you can see it.
Gorgeous.
I love that.
Yeah, and I did a little reading already, and I did mine more towards the animal kingdom. So grateful for the animal kingdom. I'm almost as
Yeah.
grateful as air, but me and air, we get along really good too. I mean, it's not smoking, right? Because I went through that whole smoking thing for a bit, and yeah, so yeah.
And in terms of, we were talking about like, just to catch you up, we were talking about like, what are some of the spiritual practices that sustain you every day? So the first one that we were saying was like daily meditation, upping that
Yeah.
obviously with utilizing certain crystals or herbs, that sacred herbs that you want to start your day with.
Yeah, I do nothing.
That's okay. I mean, you don't
I'm
have to
very
do
different. I
anything.
have a very different view of it. And I personally don't have any rituals of any sort except when I talk to the divine in the evenings as I'm laying there in bed. I approach spirituality very differently than what I've heard you ladies talking about, although very similarly in some ways. The way that we practice is very different. And I love that. I'm always fascinated to hear about how other people practice because I don't really watch other people's videos. I don't learn. I don't take courses. None of that. I just listen to the divine. And the thing that I guess I don't really like labels, but if I had to label myself something, I am a practitioner of unconditional love.
Beautiful.
And so
Love it.
for me, I don't care how you're getting there. You can dance naked in the moonlight. You can hold all the crystals and burn all the sage. You can say all the words and do all the things. But the most important thing is to integrate the divine energy inside every single one of us into our human form and our human life. And to see everything and every person through those eyes of divine, those all forgiving, all knowing, all empathetic, all understanding, all connected eyes of divine. And so I try to do that every single day. And damn, it's not easy. But I have been doing it for a really long time. And I've gone through a lot of different, phases personally. I do love my crystals. I adore them. But, the universe kind of goes, oh, grab this one, do that. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't really have a set thing. I had been reading runes since the early 90s and kind of was too accurate and scared myself. So I stopped. But about a year ago, I resisted it for a really long time. So about 2 years ago, I decided I'm going to go ahead and pick those up again. And I grabbed a tarot deck with little Kit Kats on it and tattoos. And I started a little TikTok channel. Now I've been doing live shows here on Facebook since 2017. Sometimes 5 shows a week, sometimes just my one show a week called Unleash Your Light. Shameless plug, but this is the part where it fits in. So I've been doing that for a really long time, and I wanted to expand my connection with divine. And so I wanted to find a way where they could talk to me more directly, because I'm always looking for signs, but I knew the runes always talk to me. I've gone through several sets. I have the same books that I got in 1993, but I had never picked up tarot cards, and I had always resisted even trying. So I got 2 decks that spoke to me, and I started playing with them. And I started a little TikTok, and I found that I had a great little community of people that were coming back all the time. And it was just wonderful to get the messages and then to have someone say, oh my God, that's exactly the thing, It allowed me to expand the way that I deliver the message or bring the message of unconditional love, of connection, of, just recognizing that space where we are universe, where we are divine, but still in this human body. So I've been really appreciative. It's fascinating to listen to other people who do that. I never really stepped into it much other than what I just did myself and learned myself. And so it's really interesting to step into this space. I appreciate y'all listening to me. I'm a little bit long-winded in case you didn't notice.
Just great, Lee. You're awesome. I think it's so nice because I think more intuitives should share in their ideals and their facts and what they're observing and not, and how they're growing, whether it's through artwork, sharing, breath work, whatever's causing their expansion. Like me lately, I feel it's just a complete fire all the time. I'm pushed and pulled and going through a lot of different voice changes and ideas and thoughts. Like it's kind of going into like another round for me, and being with you all makes me feel very grounded in who I am, and that feels great too. So I
Yeah.
think, Liz, though, if you wanted to maybe jump in and do a reading for us for the
Yeah.
collective, you think you were saying? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just before our call tonight, I just wanted to focus on what does the collective need to know right now, really moving towards Samhain that we have October 31st on Sunday. It's going to be extremely powerful. And the Day of the Dead coming up, the veils are really thin right now. So I really wanted a 3-card reading just for us to focus on the darker part of the year. What do we need to focus on coming up? So the first card that I got was one of my favorite cards in the Minor Arcana that flew out, which is the 9 of Pentacles. There she is. So the 9 of Pentacles this is actually so fantastic for this meeting of these powerhouse women that are here, because this represents your calling, your businesses, your spiritually based businesses, being healers, being coaches, being diviners, being teachers, being leaders in the community. This is about what this is a woman. This is actually a reflection of all 4 of us. Okay. And for anyone out there, it can also be for men. So it's not really gendered, but this is really about what are you building? This woman, this person did not get to the garden haphazardly, and she wasn't given all that she has. She built this, she worked towards it, she was committed to her path, and there were challenges, and she fell, and she picked herself up, and she learned, and she grew, and she expanded, and she continues. And so this is the garden where we stand today, and we enjoy the fruits of our labor, we enjoy what we have built, and we are in the sacred garden. And we have our parrot with us, or some people say it's a falcon. There's different representations, but it really is the working with the wild animalistic side, working with the shadow, working with the inner critic, the censor, what Julia Cameron talks about being the censor, our negative ego that can sometimes try to swoop in and undermine our power and potential. We are in the darkest part of the year to do shadow work. So this card is a celebration, first and foremost, of you, of what you have built in 2021, what you are proud of. And it's about having that firm foundation and real commitment to your business, yourself, your expansion, and how you're touching the lives of others in service to the light. That is this card. And 9s are about, in tarot, we look at aces as one or as the beginning of a cycle. 9 is nearing the end of a cycle, and 10 is completion with lessons learned, which would be like, think that as a circle. The ace would be the starting point, and the end of the circle would be like a 10. And so a 9 is really, if we want to look at the year of 2021 as an example, where we are October 31st, that we're really moving into this Sunday. We're coming into the last few months of the year. It's not over. So it's, what do I want to build for this last leg of the journey of this year? What do I want to manifest? Where do I want to put my energy? What are my goals? And it's slow and steady wins the race, with the earth element being the slowest element in the deck. It's about executing our dreams and our desires, but taking our time to get there. But this is us celebrating femininity, independence. It's a huge part of independence, of financial independence, following your purpose, knowing your path, and trusting that you are doing the right things and you're taking the right steps. I love this card. She's one of my very favorite cards. Do you guys want to comment on how you feel about her before I do the next card? Or do you want me to just do it all and then comment at the end?
How do you guys feel?
Well, I love that card. That's the Empress in the Minor Arcana. And even before I was into tarot, I picked up this necklace at a Comic-Con that had the Empress card on it. And that was like 2 years before I started like getting into tarot. And that is like, the Empress is all the queens in the deck, all the compassion, the financial abundance, the planning, and the strength, right? And the justice. So
Yeah,
I
here she
always
is.
strive and embody myself. Yes, I love that card so much.
She's my
As the
favorite card,
Empress, and
girl. She's
that's my
favorite card.
goal, right? I am the Empress. That is part of my. So if you want to talk about my practice, I try to see myself as the Empress, and I go on this journey where I am starting again as the Fool, totally empty-minded,
Oh, I think
totally
that's
unknowing, leaving everything that happened before in the past and
Mhm.
stepping into it, not foolish, but rather without any of the bad thoughts in my head, only the great stuff that's happening. I don't have to take the baggage of what happened before into where we're stepping into. And that Fool card, when it comes out with that 9 of Pentacles, oh my God, I'm always like, so like, because it's exciting. And so many people look at the Fool and think, well, that's stupid. Why would they go out with nothing but a knapsack? Why do you want to take all your shit with you when you go into your next thing, right? Like the universe is like, you already did that. Now let's do something different, right? I love that. So I'm feeling the 9 of Pentacles. I'm feeling it.
Yep.
I'm feeling it. Okay.
And noticing also all the yellow. And yellow is our solar plexus. It's the sunflowers and beside Melissa. The yellow is our life purpose, our confidence, our self-esteem, our self-worth, and unleash your light. Well, yeah, fantastic.
That's my little book. That's
her
the
book,
colors.
right?
It's painted in the background. You got the sunflowers there.
I love it.
I mean, I'm feeling that. Go ahead. Sorry.
And I was going to say, yeah, I love everything you said. My favorite cards are the Empress as well. And my favorite more male card is the Hermit. Those are my two favorite.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Hermit and I kind of go between those because the Hermit is our solo journey, our solitude, introspection. And then we have the Empress, which is very much the relationships, giving to others, lifting people up, touching the lives of others, and celebrating other people's achievements and creating community. So the Empress, she dances in so many different domains. She's very free. She's very liberal. She cannot be constrained. That's why I love her. You cannot contain this woman. You cannot confine her. Don't even try to control her because it's not happening. She's there to lift people up, to touch the lives of others, and to make real heart-to-heart connections and leave a lasting positive impact on other people. So I love that you brought up my Empress card because that to me is a reflection of a huge part of my life. And she's my favorite archetype. And then the other is the Hermit. Like she would be more social and out there and doing all these things in the community. But then we have to retreat and we have to focus on our solitary practices and we need to recharge and we also need to grow and expand and challenge ourselves. So that's why to me, these are my personal two favorites, but I love everything you said about the Fool. The Fool
Can we talk about the Empress for a minute?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Misty. I don't mean to. Did you want to jump in and then afterwards we'll talk about the Empress? Is that okay? So I have a deck that's a Halloween deck. Okay, it's just for fun. I use it around the holidays sometimes, and some people are very drawn to it because they like that sort of thing. So I had never really used it for myself. It's not something. I have a Alice in Wonderland deck that I like to use for myself. But so I went to Spirit Halloween store with my daughter, and they had this like a banner with tarot cards on it, and it was this same Halloween deck, and it's just for fun, like they sell them at Spencer's, right? So I had never really seen the cards on it, but I got it and I hung it up on my thing, and I look up and I'm looking right at the Empress. Okay. Now, the Empress in this deck, this is what I want to get to. The Empress in this deck is Kali.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite.
Her husband and is drinking the blood. So I did a whole video exploring this because I was like, I've always thought of the Empress as more like compassionate and that sort of thing. So I literally did the research live, reading all these different things about her. And now I love it. I love it. I'm not going to drop the F-bomb, but if I did, I love it, And so now I'm kind of obsessed with it because it really is embodying of the Empress, not just all the queens, but all the kings too. All the kings too. The Death card, all the justice card, right?
Mhm.
So like she's almost to me through this Kali card, all of the major arcana cards, you know, like combined into one. It really kind of shifted my like view of it. It was very interesting.
And
She is so
Callie,
Kale, goddess Kale. I go to first in my mind and my practices is the absolute destruction of
yeah,
perception for me,
yeah,
because I really want at times to feel like, for me, culture is huge. So sometimes I feel really bonded to the Western culture, but then I find myself incredibly bonded more to the Eastern thought.
hmm,
And yeah, and so my overall with her was, I think it was the goddess meditations, and then they were mentioning, who came first and who came last. And Kale in this thought form came last. So I have a thing for the underdog. So I just picked her.
hmm.
And I
And
think because sometimes we see ourselves through the shapes and forms of this culture's media, of which I think doesn't align a lot of times with
mm,
us, as women or men or gendered, transgendered, gay, whatever your embodiment of the masculine, feminine,
yeah,
whatever that is for you.
hmm,
So that's where my soul decided to go, or my mind decided on, was this. It was all kind of a oneness journey right from the hop, like right since ninth grade. I was like, I just don't want to choose, like really.
no. And nor do you have to, because all of us really embody masculine and feminine energy. And so these gender constructs are really starting to fall away because we are all kings, we are all queens, we are all divine. It really does go back to your point of oneness. I love that you mentioned Kali. I did a world religions major, and it was so funny because my husband is actually Hindu. And when I met him, I was studying Hindu gods and goddesses. So it was just like really, really just
Interesting.
an interesting alignment that came in. And
Yeah.
Kali really stood out to me because Kali I love that you brought it up because of Scorpio season and because of the death card. And Callie really fits in with right now because she slays the demons. She collects the skulls of the demons, which for us is the veils of illusion that are operating in your life, in our lives. It has to do with how we self-sabotage. What masks do we wear? Any lower vibrations that we are potentially feeding unconsciously or consciously. So I really think that Kali is being the great destroyer. One thing that was mentioned in this class that always stayed with me was that a lot of people are very intimidated by her because when she turns blue and she has her tongue out and she's slaying the demons, it's quite a dark illustration, but I find it so powerful. But what's very interesting is before we pass on, and at the moment of our death in Hinduism, what they said in the chorus was that you meet Kali. And so the idea is you want to meet Kali. It is an honor to meet Kali because she will slay your demons. She will slay your darkness, and she will basically unleash your soul fully and completely from the physical body. And it
Wow.
stayed with me. So I love that you brought up Kali, especially because this is where we are right now in October, the darkest part of the year. It's transformation. Melissa is a Scorpio, my Scorpio queen right above me. This is you. And she is the perfect embodiment of this card because she is always doing shadow work. She's always leveling up. She's transforming. And one thing that Melissa and I always talk about when we're co-creating events and in general in our private conversations is that sometimes we are doing the work and we are shifting and changing so much that even somebody who hasn't seen you in 3 months or 6 months, in their mind, they have this old narrative of who you are, or this old story of who you are, or this old context of who you are. And it's actually a little outdated and sometimes vastly outdated. And so we really need to hold space with everyone is doing the best that they can right now with their circumstances, with what they have been given, and how much intentional work they're doing, right? So the more that we embrace death in our lives, And the more that we want to transform, death, sometimes it is painful endings. It is, we need closure. Sometimes we'll fall flat on our face. But that's life. But if we embrace death, the fall isn't as bad because we're ready to make those concrete changes and we listen to the whispers of death. Really in the air right now, we can hear it. The veil is so thin and the spirits are so near that we want to transform, and we actually want to embrace Kali. We want to embrace doing that shadow work. So I think, that's fantastic. I love that you guys connect with her. She's fantastic. So nearing the end of this cycle, my second card was the Seven of Wands. And of course, 7, we're now in fire. So we've moved from our 9 of Pentacles into the 7 of Wands, and we're in fire now. So 7s in tarot, it's like we are all at a crossroads at this time. We are at a critical juncture. You are on the precipice of this great transformation that is happening in the darkest part of the year, leading up to December 21st. And so the 7 is about, what are you really going to do to shift your life? 7 is when we have to decide, are we going left? Are we going right? Are we staying right on course? Are we aligned? And what is our next move? But the 7 of Wands is standing up for what you believe in. It's standing up for what you believe in. It's expressing your truth. And it's also protection of your energetic boundaries, protection of your home, protection of whatever it is that you feel right now is of the essence to you. Relationships, your business, your knowledge, your spiritual practices. But there is some sort of, right now with the veils being very thin as well, we should be upping our protection. A lot of people are experiencing other spirits coming in or telepathic connections, cutting cords to people, places, things, habits that no longer serve us. That's the 7 of Wands. So this card is saying, in this time of shadow work leading up to December 21st, the darkest part of the year, you want to ask yourself, what do I believe in? How am I being ethically and morally challenged? What, it's so much, right? It's us saying to ourselves, what is the most important thing to me right now in my journey? What do I have time for? Where do I need to draw firm boundaries to conserve my energy? Because Wands, fire, is our actual energy. It's our actual aura. It's our energetic system. It's our chakra system. And so, the first card is really about basking in your accomplishments, being proud of how far you have come, and really celebrating the journey, which we don't talk enough about in tarot, that we need to celebrate ourselves. And then the second one is really protection. So it's about having firm boundaries, speaking our truth, soothing our words with peace, but having those firm energetic boundaries in place, and also being very clear about time management and structure and discipline in our lives, so that we can bring more of this, so that we can bring more of focus of what we want more of in our relationships and our businesses, in terms of our, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional health. How do you guys feel about this guy?
I think I try to stand up for myself. I think I should say I don't try. I think I do. I feel the COVID related stuff, not that I want to go too deep into it, but the transformation through unknown territories and boundary issues that are created outside of our walls and our homes and our interactions in business. That's the one that I'm trying not to hold as much, because I find the more that I hold it, the more internalizes and aggravates my own personal issues. So it isn't me. It's actually, it's not that I don't have that ability to go forward linguistically, physically, mentally, emotionally, artistically, creatively, but it's me holding on to that thought of, there's a fearful sort of thing going on for humanity, and playing into the unfairness game of like, really, again, everyone's decided to be here, right? We've all come into physical form to play out this drama in this game. And it has been prolific in consuming at times. So.
Mm-hmm. And I think everything you said is just bang on with that Seven of Wands is I'm not going to engage. I'm going to actually disengage. So part of this can be energy of I'm actually disengaging.
Mm-hmm.
My boundaries actually I'm going to focus on myself right now. I'm going to focus on my Hermit card, my solitude, introspection, and my journey, and what I'm learning and how I'm expanding. And that is part of the seven, is protecting your peace and protecting your independence and what you need to sustain that firm foundation. And
I think
coming
in going back to the first card too, I'm pulling in the death component, as in like it's like everything is in its cycle.
yeah.
And a lot of times we want to nurture the fact that everything's meant to come in and be okay, and the world could be as one. But we know, and definitely, that we're going to face disasters here. Mother Gaia is going to transform. It's not going to be, oh, Mother Gaia is going to transform. Let's get a little towel for that and clean that mess up there. It's like Mother Gaia is going to transform, and it's going to absolutely shake you up. The earth and the people on it, because being in the Gaia format of being aware of earth would have to have done that, right? Whether it takes 10, 20 years to whatever extent. We're industrialized, and I think we have to live in that as well, is to be honest with ourselves, is there's going to be a lot of upset on different levels, whether it's a pandemic or not.
Y'all, I think very differently than y'all. I'm sorry. I mean, no shade. I understand it's really a lot of what has been going on sucks. It sucks. And we all have lost friends. We've lost relationships. We found out who was on our side and who really wasn't on our side. We discovered things about ourselves that maybe we didn't like spending so much time with in silence, without interaction with other people. When we dropped the distractions of our everyday life, a lot of partnerships got stronger. A lot of partnerships fell apart because you don't have the distraction of other things. You are literally stuck with each other all the time. I always believe that people are brought into our life to learn from. That whole transformation hurts. Transformation is not butterflies. I always liken it more to American Werewolf in London, with the real difficult transformation. But it's because we know what our life looks like here. We know what we want everything to look like or how we want to feel. But we have to change this to get there. And that forces you to do something different, to say something different, to live your life different. I tend to not protect myself from the energies out there. If something makes me mad or makes me angry or intrudes on my space, first I look at me and I say, why is this bothering me so much? Not because of what they're doing, but what in me is still sensitive to a grown man leaning over me and wagging his finger at me. And then I go in and I forgive that shit. And I work on, loving myself through that. And I do whatever I got to do. But I don't protect myself from that sort of thing. I was actually talking today with her about, I see it more as, rather than, I teach little empath classes, right? Or I did in the past. And I did the bubble thing when I started. But I think that I encourage them to, rather than creating this, to create something that comes from the divine within us, from that heart chakra that shines outwards and through them, rather than keeping it to myself. That's just the way that I envision it. So it's kind of like I was telling her, it's like a superhero, like exploding out light from the middle when I'm feeling put upon, when I'm feeling in conflict with someone, or when I'm having those type of feelings. I just access it, over and over again, because I don't think that anything that's happening has anything to do with our journey. I think that it's the reaction that it brings up in each one of us that is actually our journey. And the way that we respond to the world around us is where we actually learn, not necessarily the thing that made us have a certain response. Like, no matter what side of truth you're on, which truth you believe, which reality is yours, how you see the world. If you think everyone's looking at you and thinking you're ugly, meanwhile you're like a supermodel and you just think everyone's staring you, whatever perception we have of the world. Right. I mean, it's not about that. It's about our reaction.
I think that from and this is my own approximation, that we do need transformation for humanity. Right. And I think that when things happen, and in big significances, they are showing the alignment of extreme personal growth. I get up to do growth every day. A lot of people, I think they like to stay within those 3 dimensions. Right. And so I also feel like maybe my own empathic self has been really feeling for humanity, has been feeling for the outcome. And then we're also pushed with, when we pick up the button and we're holding it, what we're actually valuing in that system. If we're not truly valuing, as you said, I think Missy, what I thought of there, we talked about before, was the Care Bear stare idea. You brought it into the idea that what Lee is saying is we bring out us and our amazingness to be like, yeah, you can't shatter it. You can't move it. You can't do anything out here that's not going to make me feel like not glowing or not showing up at my energetic best. Absolutely. I don't know. In the human journey, it is a beautiful thing. And being beyond the human journey in spirit and living in spirit is a whole other dimension of life.
I love that. Yeah, good points, everybody.
We're all Care Bears.
Right?
We've got our solar plexus, and we can breathe into it at any time. And we shoot rainbows out at everybody. And we also can turn them into ghosts. If we don't want to hear what they're saying right now because we don't even know them, they're strangers, just turn them into a ghost or pretend that you speak a different language.
I see what you're saying. So like, instead of like really being in touch with the energy and loving the body and loving the practice of what it feels like to be in the body, because I think that is definitely easy. It's really easy to be in your head. It's really easy to find empathy or be in your heart. But if you really want it to be completely enchanted by yourself, by the beauty of yourself, where did that class go in college or university? Personal enchantment. And how wonderful am I? Just the beingness of me.
Yeah. And the 7 in tarot, this particular 7, it's also about speaking your truth. It's about soothing your words with peace, but speaking your truth, whether that has to do with the collective energies that are going on, whether that has to, everyone is really coming at this from different levels of awareness and experience. Some people have different gifts and different awarenesses. So the 7 is also going to be you just speaking your truth, right? And being authentic. And sometimes that's difficult for people. And this card is about boundaries, and not just energetic boundaries, but boundaries in terms of, when we get a text, a phone call, an email, we don't actually have to respond right away, right? Like we are working on ourselves. We have clients. There's all kinds of different things that are going on in our day-to-day life. So the 7 of Wands can be speaking your truth, and sometimes it's managing expectations. There's a practical component to this. Which is, in more of the 3D conversation, not energetic, but 3D would be, speaking your truth, being authentic, and drawing from boundaries and being clear about expectations with clients and with people in our personal lives too. So really, but knowing that right now the 7 is that no matter where you are, where your awareness lies, the 7 is saying that currently all of us on an individual level, we are transforming at this time, and we are going through our own cocooning. And that's why it's the darkest part of the year, because we're not the butterfly yet. We are in the cocoon, and that's when we're gestating ideas. That's when we are also resting, and we're reflecting, and we are integrating the lessons of the 9, because the cocooning is very important. People kind of blow past the cocoon. That's where all the magic happens, in the chrysalis. So, a big part of death is resting reflecting and integrating the energies of whatever is going on in your personal life, and then being very aware of the impact of the collective and how much of an impact it has on you, and if it does or doesn't, just having that awareness. And then my last card, guys, was the Ace of Cups, which is such a beautiful, positive card where we come out of that cocoon, we come out of drawing those boundaries, speaking our truth, and also following our passions. And we really transform from a soul level during Scorpio season, heading into Sagittarius. We really welcome the Ace of Cups. And this is such a positive card. All aces are a gift from the divine, a gift from spirit. And this is, new relationships, new connections, or deepening of existing connections. And it's also an awakening of love, whether that is in a romantic partnership, whether it is in, friendship, co-creation, colleagues, us, anything. It's celebrating new people coming together, having these uplifting conversations. And it really is, walking in the light of the divine, really embodying what Lee was talking about, embodying and breathing unconditional love, being that care bearer. This is all about new beginnings, new perspectives, fresh new ideas, personally and professionally, and deepening whatever it is, the cycles in your relationship. It's finding that new entry point, finding a deeper intimacy in an existing relationship that you didn't even know that you could love this person more. I've been with my husband for 15 years. You always go through cycles in these relationships, right? We go through so many cycles within ourselves. And then of course your partner will, or someone you're romantically involved with will, and then that feeds back into the relationship. And so this is such a powerful card because it's the new light, it's new beginnings, it's fresh perspective, and it's also new ideas of how you're going to impact each other and the world, and have that ripple effect of radical acceptance and non-judgment, mutual respect, and a coming together of differing opinions and differing voices. That the Ace of Cups is saying there's room for everyone. There's room for new relationships. There's room for new beginnings all the time, and to see each other in new ways. Because sometimes, look at us in boxes right now. It's like sometimes we put other people in boxes, or we put ourselves in boxes. And this is the unboxing of being like, hey, you're able to see people in a fresh new way and not label them and be like, wow, I didn't see that about you, and celebrating each other. This is such a positive card. So it's from doing the work, we're given the gifts from the universe, or deepening of existing gifts to find that new beginning. So I love the Ace of Cups.
I think it's a very purifying card. I mean, I'm considering contemplation for sure on that one.
Yeah, cleansing, pure water, divine feminine, going deeper within our emotions, understanding our emotional body, understanding our innate spiritual gifts that we all have. I don't believe that somebody is more special than someone else. Everyone has these innate gifts. They need to be nurtured. They need to be nourished, and expansion. And that no matter what we know, what we've mastered, who we help, we are always going to go deeper within ourselves. So the Ace is always that blessing from the divine.
Yeah. I think if I could add just one little extra piece to that, is that gift from the divine, that Page of Cups, love, connection, everything, that gift, right? We, because our human gets in the way, have to be open to receiving it, because the universe doesn't actually have a beautiful hand with a golden chalice in it. Sometimes that cup of love, that cup of love is coming from something or something that's very opposite of where you're at now, or a person that you may not have expected to have that, or a revelation that's going to rock your world, right? But often, because like you said, we're in these boxes of how we do it, and this is the right way to practice, and this is the right way to hear it, and I have to turn around twice, and I have to snap my fingers, and sometimes the details they comfort us, and lull us into thinking that where we are is where we're supposed to be. The universe is not comforting most of the time when it comes to transformation. And so what I would say is, please be open and willing to receive, to recognize that you are worthy of this divine cup of love that the universe is trying to bring you. You have to believe it's worthy, or you're going to walk right by that hot guy who's looking at your ass, or that hot girl, or that job opportunity. You're going to walk right past it because you think that's not for me. They're not going to look at me. They would never be interested in me. Let me tell you something. The universe works in mysterious ways, and you have to be open to what it's going to bring, no matter what that may be. Of course, recognizing abuse. I'm not getting there, but I'm just saying we have to recognize it. And I mean, you can't judge the situations now by the defeats of the past. The defeats are supposed to teach you to choose better, to speak better, to think better, to choose a different outcome. Because if we believe that we are creating the world around us, then how we behave, how we think, how we act affects everything. And so we have to be, I call it radical self-awareness, to constantly be paying attention to how our perspectives, our patterns are keeping us from receiving the divine. So that page of cups, that hand that's coming out, it might look like Freddy Krueger's hand instead, but recognize that if it's there for you, it's there to help you. The universe is never trying to hurt us. They're never wanting us to fail, except when we can learn something towards the victory on that path. And if you stop at the failure, then, or you block the victory by not believing that you deserve it,
Mm-hmm.
then you gotta watch out for that, you know?
Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points, especially this notion to, the hand is an open palm, that we have to, like you were saying, be ready, be willing, and feel worthy of the new relationships, business ideas, romantic partnership, or deepening relationships, co-creating events. If we're not open to it, then if we have resistance to it, then we're not in divine flow. We're not in divine alignment. We're swimming upstream. We're swimming against the current rather than with the current. So I think that is a fantastic point of being open to receive, is very bang on for this card. Excellent.
I like the watery part. I like everything water. I really like camaraderie too, and the open palm, but I really like the interesting connection between both of the views. I think that's really neat too. I think a lot of times people, when they're unfamiliar with cards or productively using them for self-transformation, that they do get stuck at, it has to mean one thing, right? And really, I think we're existing when we're in the now for transformation now, meaning, boom, let's use this now and let's get this working for us. So if we take that bit of information and we let it in, we digest it, maybe it's kind of like going, because I today would say I came in with 8 thought bubbles. I got rid of 4 already. It just helps me go, okay, didn't need that anymore. I'm through with that. I've been through that enough. Right. And it's listening to the divine wisdom of you all that's helping me just be like, okay, let's just dismantle whatever I'm holding on to here.
Mm-hmm. So to sum it up, you've got, boom, celebrating how far you've come, what you've built in your personal and professional lives, and taking the moment to celebrate, because so many of us don't. So it's celebrating how far we have come, what we have built, and where we are going, and what else we want to manifest to be of service to other people, and for our own expansion and our own enjoyment of our lives. So I love her. But again, this applies to everyone, masculine and feminine. We're all masculine and feminine. And then we have, drawing boundaries, protecting our energy when necessary, and really speaking up for what we believe in when we feel called, speaking our truth, soothing our words with peace, and taking the action steps necessary for this transformation that Lee mentioned is fantastic, because we need to. We need to take concrete action steps. Fire is about action. It's about our energy, but it's also about doing it. And the only person that is going to make those choices are ourselves on our solitary quest. We have to push ourselves to shift the energy, to make different choices, to also have fun with our spirituality, because oftentimes it is spoken about so rigidly. And I think having fluidity is very important. But this is the action, or you expressing your truth. And then we end off with this fresh new beginning, a new cycle that is going to come out of Scorpio season, where again, it's those new connections, new beginnings, blessings, existing blessings, and what Lee was talking about then being open to receiving and aligning with those higher frequencies of things that, by the way, we don't want to know how it's going to manifest. We want to be surprised. We want to think, wow, this is actually better than I could have ever imagined. And that's the Ace of Cups, when we are just so in the flow and we're always in a state of constant gratitude. So that is just like a mini reading for the collective of what is going on right now. But really, it's all about our transformation, and that, you know, sometimes we are going to be moving away from people, places, things, and habits in order to get to that Ace of Cups. We're going to have to, you know, again, take concrete action steps for our metamorphosis to take place. Before we become that beautiful butterfly, we're going to have to make some different decisions.
Or that werewolf. Or that werewolf.
I love that.
So I said, I don't think I want to be an angel. No, I don't think so. And I think that's a lot of what we're taught, maybe in the Disney perception of life, like princesses are, right? So I really honor you all so much today. I feel you just fill my cup overflowing. Definitely. Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about like this being the season of the witch, and the notion that
the witch thing, yeah.
The witch has been associated with, you know, the outsider, the grotesque, the monstrous, you know, oh, she knows things. What does she know? You know, and kind of the intimidation, or her being relegated to these, you know, parts of society. And, you know, it's kind of interesting to me that we're in a time of reclaiming that term, because really it is connecting with the divine. It's connecting with our soul, whether that is through healing, self-healing, whether it is through doing that deep work of divination, of, you know, Lee mentioned runes, whether it's tarot cards, runes, Lenormand cards, sortilege, like scrying. There are so many ways. Really, the witch was the healer. You know, she was someone that had knew the herbs, and she knew how to work with nature and the four elements. She knew that she was the four elements, that these weren't just external tools, sacred things that she worked with. The witch was someone that was a confidant to a lot of people, and that also held the secrets. She was the vault. And I see myself as that I am the vault, that if you speak to me about something in a reading or in a session, it is completely confidential. It is never repeated to anyone. And so we have to hold ourselves to a high standard, right? Whether we were the midwife, the diviner, the healer, the listener, the coach, the teacher, the water woman, whatever we are doing, we are the elements. They are us. And when we balance earth, air, fire, and water, expressed in the tarot, right? The earth, air, fire, and water, we ignite our spirit. We ignite our divinity to bring unconditional love and non-judgment, and really supporting other people on their journey. That's a tall order. But we have the power to all tap into that divinity at any given moment. And so the witch, you know, the notion of the witch, I love the season of the witch, because it's really being powerful, but adding to the light and bringing out the divinity of each person that we sit with, or each person that we do a session with. It is about lifting them up and helping them to see their own light and their own divinity, so that they can be empowered and walk their own path. You know, the witch should be someone that shines light in the darkness and helps other people to see their next step. Okay, it's like just giving them a little push, and now they're going off on their own. So I love this notion of the witch, of reclaiming this term.
Yeah, the witch in the sense of like the multifaceted knowledge-based being, whether in the feminine or the masculine, that is moved and coming forward for your benefit. But do you really feel now, from my experience, that a lot come forward with that purity in mind? Because you talked about an acronym you use in your practice called PPP. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah.
PPP. Yeah, what did it stand for again? Power, presence, and purity, I think.
Presence, presence, purity, and power. And I think that for any teacher, healer, diviner, or if we like the word witch or not, or guide, if we don't like that word, I love the word, but if we are present, if we are fully present with ourselves, with the person that we are with, that we are holding space for in either a sacred session one-on-one, or whether it is a group, being present is huge. But purity, if we have a pure heart, if we have pure intentions, if we are walking in the light of the divine, of the creator, or shamanically in the shamanic work that I do, Father Sky, Mother Earth, really recognizing both the divine masculine and feminine that we are, and that is also outside of us. If we have a pure heart and we have pure intentions, we are going to get it right, because we are coming from our divinity. We are coming from our soul, and that's what leads to the power, because it's coming from a place of unconditional love. And that well is that Care Bear stare, that it is a well, and that when we are doing work, we are channels, we are divine channels, because we are aligned with God, with the creator, or whatever word that really works for you. It's coming from the oneness. It's coming from source. And if you are aligned with that, you will be powerful, because you walk in the light. That's my personal, how I would word it.
Yeah, that oneness word. I literally just did a show, I guess a month or two ago, called "Is Oneness Still a Thing?" Because it was real big back in 2017, 2018. And people stopped talking about it. And we don't need to go into the whys, but that for me, when I had this a huge punch in the face transformation back in the springtime, and that they were like, "You are an amplifier of oneness." I'm like, okay, I'm an amplifier of oneness. And so then I just started saying that. And I would ask people, have you ever heard it? What do you think that? I'm like, I get what it means to me. I see oneness in all things. I do my best to strive to do that. And I'm not always successful, because people make it real hard for you to see the oneness in them sometimes, But that space of recognizing someone's pain, recognizing why they're doing that. And you don't even need the details. If somebody is acting in an off way, in an angry way, with attitude, with whatever it is, it's coming from something in them. Most likely it's not anything that we've done, and to not take that personally, and rather to see it all. They're having a bad day, like they're your child, through the eyes of love. Yes. That helps to create the oneness. And you don't have to do it in huge chunks and love everything bad. Start with the cashier who's rude to you. Yeah. Start with the guy who cut you off. And rather than being angry about it, or being frustrated by it, or my Uber Eats is late, just, you know what? I'll bet they're having a terrible day. Let me send them a little, I hope their day gets better. A little, whatever you want to call it, a little rainbow energy, right? And just let them go on their way, and don't take it so they didn't disrespect you. They didn't dishonor you. And even if you did, why the hell do you care? You don't even know this person. We were talking, I call it, I don't want to drop the F-bomb. It's the freedom of ethic. And that, taking that and combining it with, I'm going to send you a big old love bomb instead. I'm going to see how that could be me if if I had been born in that body, or 2 weeks ago when I was delivering. Bless you, darling.
Bless you, honey.
That oneness, it's so huge. And I hope that more of us get back to that? Because it didn't used to
Yeah, and
matter
come
what
out of the
path you were
bubble,
on.
like, and come out of that fearful-based bubble of sharing, which has been,
Yes. Yes,
again,
because
a
it's
containment,
amplifying
right?
fear. It's amplifying
Yeah.
the pain. Let's talk about the conspiracy over and over again. Let's talk about the bad stuff over and over and over again. You know,
Let's
we
not.
don't, we're
And in this
amplifying it when we do that.
absolutely, like, coming out of the shell of it and
Yeah.
unmasking, as I was asking my guides today and praying on, as I'm walking at the door, visualizing this is one of the last times I ever have to double think about picking up a mask. Because we all know that the jig is up, the hoax can be called, or the effect has been felt. We know that. But dominantly, to have to cover myself every time to have a conversation is just not, it's not, it's
See, and
not
I don't care.
my
It don't
beingness.
bother me. I'm pumped full of 5G nanobots and I feel great. I mean, for me, that's good. And again, it's not about what you believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm going to believe whatever I want to believe, but it's how I react to it. If you said that and then I was like, how dare you say that? I shared this out to my friends and they're scientists and they
No,
disappear.
I
All
know,
my
I get
liberal,
it. I
do you know
know.
what I'm saying? But to me, it doesn't matter what you believe in. It might
Yeah.
affect me, but I'm going to do what I need to do for me, you know? And I just don't, it's our reaction to it that makes it so bad. It's the
Yeah.
anger that comes from having your worldview challenged,
Mhm.
that then shifts the whole situation, rather than just saying, oh, that version of me feels the need to, not wear one. Oh, that version of me doesn't want to get a shot. Well, I don't really want to get a shot either. Okay, I made the ultimate sacrifice for all of you. Okay, you're welcome. I'm going to move the fuck on. So it's just this general space of,
I'm hearing a lot of symbology here with Christ likeness, right? And I'm hearing inside compassion awareness, Buddha awareness, awakening, compassion awareness over and over. I'm just like, I don't know why, but I feel really resistant and I'm going to have to work on that.
and I love that. Every time something comes up and I'm like, nah, wait, what did you say? You know, we're doing this, right? You better figure this out,
I think a lot of times in my life, this is coming from my life experience, that I haven't had a lot of fed up experiences. Like, I've been very gifted, even though I've gone through serious traumas. I haven't had enough. And in the last 3-4 weeks, it just feels like a fed upness that I'm coping with. I think I could take a lot of understanding here with me into tomorrow, definitely, ladies, because I have been and will be more practiced in my pursuits of my connection with spirit. And I've been doing such amazing things with that it's sort of like, I don't want to sit in the 3D. I don't want to be upset, but I'm still really pissed. So, I'm going to work on that.
True. Yeah, and I think it's normal. It's totally normal for all of us if we're experiencing frustration and or negative emotions. And I think the biggest thing is it's not about holding it in. It is about expressing it. And it really is like, we do need to before we can release it, we have to express it. We have to allow it to be expressed, but we also don't want to take up a lot of energy and dwell on it and stay in that vibration. We want to move through it. We want to express it. We want to release it, and we want to move on. And so we don't want it to fester. We don't want to hold it in. It's so important for us to speak our truth in a safe space when we can, but then to also, before we release it, it's important, because a lot of people do suppress it, and that's not really helpful for anyone. We're human. We're all doing the best that we can, and we all have different levels of energy, and some people are very affected right now for a variety of reasons by the collective energies and circumstances. So everyone is trying to do the best that they can with what they have. And so I love the idea of oneness and this notion that, like, because really oneness for me is about being interconnected, that we are interconnected. And like Lee was saying, it's like seeing yourself in the Uber driver, seeing yourself in the person who cut you off, or that cashier that is irritated. It's really, oneness is about the interconnectedness, that we are all one. And that even though we're individual souls on our own journey and we have solitary work to do, when the negativity comes up, it's trying to have that compassion for that's where they're at, and as tough as it can be, having really radical acceptance and compassion and non-judgment for where they are. And it doesn't mean that we have to align. It doesn't mean we have to agree. Melissa and I host events in Toronto in person for new moon and full moon. We do sound baths, and I always talk about the astrology, and we do tarot as well. Just everyone gets a 1 card reading. And the interesting thing is we do not bring in, and Nicole and I were talking about this the other day with Melissa, like we actually this year, and we don't miss a moon in our cycle. Everything is pre-booked until the end of May 2022. We actually decided to keep the caliber of the event so high that we do not bring in any of these politics. We do not bring in any of these issues, because if we are going to raise that cone of energy, if we are going to have that purity and that power of that room to actually not just heal the people in the room, but then to send that beautiful music that raises the frequency and raises the vibration of those people. And it goes back to Mother Earth to help her transmute all of these lower frequencies. And we're trying to be giving to Mother Earth as well, not just each other, and to the group, but to Mother Earth. If we are going to be doing that, then we have to have the integrity and we have to hold that high energy and that high vibration, which means that we can't even go into those other conversations. And that can be challenging for some, but when you can really step into that temple space and keep that energy high, it's completely transformative and makes a noticeable difference in past events, that when we allow that energy in, when we allow that frequency in, it changes the trajectory of the entire experience. Mm-hmm. So we've really been vigilant about, this, we are here for one particular reason. And one reason is to heal ourselves and the planet. And that doesn't mean we don't have frustrations, right? They come in and they're to be expressed. And of course, people express things in sacred space. Confidentially, we support one another. But to kind of look at sometimes at politics and certain aspects of the pandemic, et cetera, that are obvious, we need to leave it at the door sometimes so that we can really step into that power and that purity that we want to bring forward.
PPP, not the PPE, fellas. It is, really. I mean, I had to say it, I had to spray it, I had to wear it, I did. And that's probably where the majority of it blew up for me. And I really am grateful that it did when it did. And in alignment with where I'm going now, I feel I'm in the best space I could be to get to my next post in life. Amazing. And when you said trajectory, I kind of think about that running gymnast, and they're just running at it. They're powering at it, and boom. I myself, I think until the point of when I was like, I hate masking, all of a sudden, was not even thinking about it. So I've realized that in my goal set that I kind of tune in and tune out, and that being tuning in and tuning out was not allowing me to safely protect myself and to stand up for myself or speak my mind. So if that is all I practice for the rest of my life, amen.
Yeah.
To always use your voice. Always to believe it is worthy. Mm-hmm. Beyond worth, because you're coming from a space of love and light that you don't have to harness whether it's good or not. You don't have to have that acceptance that it is pure. And move myself forward. And that trajectory is to say that I would land in your doorstep, and your doorstep, and your doorstep, girls. Like, it's the perfect way of understanding oneself.
Yeah. Yeah, like I did a salsa class today. It was amazing. And I do it it's like a newer, It's a newer thing that I'm doing, getting back to it and learning it. And I ran into a neighbor and she's like, do you wear a mask doing that? And I was like, God, no. If I was doing a salsa sweat class for an hour with a mask, I would pass out. Like, I think, I think at a certain point, no matter where we fall and we're all different, but wherever we fall at this point, we need to live. We need to live. And that's going to look different for everyone. And people are going to make different choices. And for me, I can't, for me, I have to be free at this stage, and so but that looks different for everybody.
Yeah, I love my mask. It's got kitty cats on it, and I look adorable. And I can talk just as loudly and freely as I want to with the piece of fabric on. No piece of fabric, nothing I wear, nothing externally is ever going to change what my truth is, what my connection is, and the way that I express it to other people. That's just the way that I see it. To me, I don't care. I worked with the public for 27 years. I worked in restaurants. I have been shit on, cursed at, told off, demeaned, belittled, groped, grabbed, harassed, everything you could possibly think of. You know what I'm saying? Wearing a mask is like the easiest thing that I have done in my entire life up until now. So for me, I don't really care. I'll put it on to keep you safe. I'll put it on to keep me safe. I don't know what the hell is going on, but if I'm doing this, you can still tell that I am a human at this moment. I may not be human tomorrow. I just don't see it that way. Everybody, but again, everybody has their own thing. And I'm not a person to go up and scream at someone who isn't wearing one. I just put on an extra one for me because I don't need to control what that person does, but I do need to control what I'm going to do, and yes, what you do affects me, but how I react then either puts fuel on the fire or throws water on it.
True.
So it either becomes an argument and people blow up, or all right, you do you, I'm gonna do me, and it's like all good, And we need to be throwing more water instead of throwing more fuel on the fire. That's just my little opinion about the mask. Rant over. Sorry.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm so grateful for you all. I could use a splash of water myself.
Me too.
Is there anything anyone wants to get into conclusion? I would like to finish tonight with some type of prayer, some type of closure for all.
One thing I just want to offer is I am doing a specific offering for Samhain called the Samhain Sessions. And so it will be, I'll be putting it on my Instagram. And so that is basically 6 cards. So for the person looking at how can we focus on earth, air, fire, and water to ignite the spirit and what we need to know right now for the shadow work. So if anyone is struggling and they feel like they're like, shadow work, what does that mean for me? What do I need to work on right now? Then that would be a perfect reading if you're interested in really delving into Scorpio season and really leading up to October 31st. And you can send me a message on Instagram if you're interested in the Samhain Sessions, to really delving into the shadow and what do we need to know in order to really catapult that transformation. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah.
I'd like to catapult as well. I feel like protection is a great thing, but I think too, I agree that living in my light will be awesome. I acknowledge the fact that I'm on this journey, and I acknowledge that all of me is learning at all times. So I'd like to send a blessing out to all spirits, all entities, all beings, all places in our universe, all those who want to come forward and all those who are afraid to come forward, that they can easily come forward in their truth, their light, their fire, their water, their earth, and themselves in all aspects, safely and harmoniously home.
Aho.
Oh.
Let it be so, and so it is. Amen. Amazing. Thank you.
Okay, this has been so incredible. I totally want to do it again. So I hope to do this again. And keep inviting in visitors and people that want to shed the light on their view and the beauty of all that dripping with meaning. So thank you all.
Thank you for
joining
having
us
us.
today. Yeah,
Thank
you're a
you for
divine
having
blessing. I'm so enchanted.
Lee, it was nice to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you guys.
So nice. Thank you. Sweet dreams tonight.
You too. Let's
You
let's try to
too.
hook up. Let's get a portal going.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We will. That was confirmation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys so much.
And thank everyone out there who is listening and tuning in as I'm growing. Thank you, Debbie Garcia. And I will call it that for tonight.
Okay, wait. Go.
Good night, everybody.